Good evening and welcome to day 16 of the Johnny Depp libel trial. As usual, we've got all of today's papers, got a little bit of a roundup, most of them going with a sort of smiling Amber Heard waving and a couple, apart from that one. And some key points to come out of today. We've got some quotes from Johnny Depp's lawyer David Sherborne, who says that his client is potentially the victim of career-ending false allegations from Amber Heard, referring to her describing his Jekyll and Hyde personality, which he says is a monster persona retro-engineered by her. Says Depp has never been a violent man. That's shown apparently by the testimony of his ex-girlfriends and friends. And he also says that the photographs that have been shown show little or nothing. So it seems that he's really trying to discredit Amber Heard's evidence. And we'll once again go over to Bang Showbiz owner Rick Sky for his take on today's proceedings.
Hi, yeah, well today is the final day of the case, and really it's, as Jack mentioned, it's Johnny Depp's lawyer, David Sherborne, moving forward with, or rounding up the case. This is a case, remember, that though we're saying Depp versus Heard, this is a case, remember, that Johnny Depp has brought against the Sun for libeling him as a wife beater, an allegation that he totally denies. So today we had basically David Sherborne for Johnny Depp saying that Johnny is a really decent man. He's a decent man, he's kind, he's not a violent person at all, he's generous, he's got lots of friends. So he's recounting all these character witnesses that for Johnny, you know, about saying how wonderful a person he is, and that, and what he is then doing is trying to discredit Amber and paint a black picture of her. Really, basically, he's saying that it's not Johnny who's been violent in this relationship. It's Amber who's been violent, and you know her violence has made Johnny react in many ways. I mean, it's fascinating. He's basically saying that, you know, she's got a troubled history. Even her own father has admitted that she's got a terrible temper. So everything that we're hearing today, he's saying has been really engineered by Amber, and she's the one who's been provoking Johnny completely and being violent towards him. He's also saying any pictures that Amber has shown, saying, "Oh, look how injured I am." He's saying, you know, Amber Heard as an actress, she's skilled in makeup. You know, she's concocted these pictures herself. It's very interesting. A lot of of Johnny Depp's lawyers' defence, really, or accusations, are basically saying that Amber's framing Johnny, you know, really, and all the things that she's accusing him of, she's done and projected it onto Johnny as if it's you know, faking it.
I think, just to ask you a question, if that's all right, Rick. I think it's interesting the way that the drug use there's never not been any dispute about any of the drug use, but I thought there's a comment that David Sherborne made today that was particularly interesting when he said that cocaine actually takes Johnny to a neutral state, and he was sort of using that, and the effect of that was to cancel out the Roxys that he was taking for an injury that he sustained on the set of Pirates of the Caribbean.
This is one thing that I think anyone who knows anything about cocaine must have been puzzled by. For those of you who know about cocaine usage, or who have read up about it or whatever, cocaine is it's a drug that people use mainly to inflate their egos, to give them a sense of superiority, and with that comes an aggressive side. People who take cocaine can get very, very aggressive. So it was very interesting to read Sherborne's defence of it. I mean, it was the one thing that you could say, oh, this explains why Johnny, or this is what Amber and Amber's defence team, Amber's team of lawyers were saying, the reason why Johnny is violent is because he takes so much drugs, especially cocaine, I think, and that's what they were saying, that turns him into a monster. And the fact that David Sherborne, now Johnny Depp's lawyer, is saying actually cocaine, he was using it to get into a neutral state because he had been taking roxycodone. That's like a synthetic opioid, and that brings you down. So the cocaine, he was low down on the roxycodone, so the cocaine was bringing him up. So he was just getting in a normal state. So it must make you wonder, why would someone take a drug that, you go down, and then you take a drug to get you up to just be in a normal state? Why just not start in a normal state already without taking any drugs? It save you a lot of money, Johnny, and also, what's the point of kind of being up and down?
And obviously there will sort of technically be a winner and a loser from this, but do you think either Amber Heard or Johnny Depp will benefit at all from essentially having a lot of their dirty linen aired so publicly?
I don't think so at all. I don't think it's going to do any of them any good. The reason that I was thinking, why would Johnny Depp bring this case to court? Really, because he's all his private life is just, all his dirty laundry, his private life is being spilled out in the open, and it is because these are very, very serious allegations, and in the whiter than white climate we've got at the moment, and the lawyer himself has said this could be career ending for Johnny, and that's very, very serious. With Amber, obviously she's not such a big star. It won't affect her as much as it would if Johnny loses this. So it won't affect her that much. She's also, in many ways, we've talked about this before, she can use this as being part of the Me Too movement, really. All I was doing was trying to say that not just me, but women in general have been hurt by violent men. We've been put down. We don't get a fair chance in life because men are horrible and beastly to us. So it's just it's fascinating where the outcome of this. But I don't think it's good for. I certainly don't think it's good for any of them to have been involved in this. Better to have swept it under the carpet. But I can see why he didn't. It's a hard thing. If then Johnny Depp makes so much money that to have his career put on hold for a long while, or maybe even finished, would be terrible for him. It's all he knows as well.
Okay.
And the other thing I was going to say, I noticed that from the thousands and thousands of people that have been watching our stream, most of them are really Johnny Depp supporters, and I can understand that. He's a bigger personality. He's a really interesting character. The whole thing about this was, again, to sum up, they're both very, very similar people. That's why it's so fascinating. They're both mirror images of each other. They're both prone to outbursts. They're both eccentric. They're both free spirits. They're both very passionate. It's a shame that they couldn't make their marriage last, really. Although this case isn't about the marriage, but that's what we've heard so much about, is the marriage and why it went wrong.
Okay, and obviously you sort of touched on it then with the level of support for Johnny Depp, and I just wondered, to elaborate a bit, Johnny Depp being upset by allegations that he surrounds himself with yes men. I suppose in that sense you're almost damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you're surrounded by people who are saying what a great person you are.
Well, this is a problem that all celebrities have, isn't it? Who is going to be the person to say to you, actually, you're not as good as you think you are, or you're doing the wrong thing. Especially when you're paying people's wages, and they're big wages, and you don't want to if you get on the wrong side of a Hollywood star, your career as a helper in Hollywood or whatever you do could be finished. I mean, you just need one word from a big star. Stars, you know, this is why this is so fascinating. It shows you how much stars can dominate a system, or you know, or people's lives.
It was referenced as well, David Sherborne again, about Amber Heard chopping and changing her evidence, his words. I just wonder what you think about how difficult it would be to keep an exact timeline of these things, you know, particularly when there's drink and drugs involved and you're interacting with this person on a daily basis.
Yes, I mean that's fascinating. I mean that's that's one of the strongest points he's made. I think is that, you know, the evidence has been inconsistent. But of course we are inconsistent people. It's very hard to remember all these things. What I found very odd about this case was that they seem to be tape recording each other all the time, you know, audio recording or making, you know, or making videos of their indiscretions all the time. I mean, that's no way to, surely that's no way to conduct a relationship. Better to have pictures, better to have videos of them in bed. I would have enjoyed that far more than shouting at each other.
Okay, and sort of following on from Depp supposedly being surrounded by yes men, David Sherborne said that Amber Heard's friend's evidence was essentially based on what she told them. So I wonder what you thought about that, because I suppose the equivalent would probably be true for both to a certain extent.
Yes, I mean, that doesn't seem to be that dynamic a proposition, really. I mean, I think from looking back on the case, yes, whenever something happened, she did tell people. She said, "Oh, you know, Johnny's just hit me," or this or that. So there are some records of her telling people. I don't think it's all, as perhaps David Sherborne was saying, concocted after the event and things. I think there were genuine, or not genuine events. There are certainly events that happened where she would have told her friends immediately, or her sister, or whatever.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you very much. And thanks.
So I was going to say, these streams have been very successful. I'm pleased at the amount of people that have been watching us, and now that this case is finished, there are other very, very big things that we're going to be talking about here at Bang Showbiz. I think one of the things we need to talk about or to address, and I think people are fascinated by this, not of course if you're a Johnny Depp fan and you're watching this, but is the Meghan and Harry book, Finding Freedom, and I think we'll have a discussion about that in the next few days, because that's a blockbuster book. It just seems the celebrity world or the royal world is just gone wild at the moment. Maybe it's COVID-19, who knows.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you all back here in the not too distant future. Take care and good night.